Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the tangle Torzon lace from Lori Howe. Now, for some that have been Tangle Addicts for a while, if you're a member of the club, and you might recall this from our This Ain't Your Grandma's Doily class. And as I was thinking about what to do today, I was I didn't do that on a quickie yet, so let's just do it. All right. So this starts off with a big zigzag. Let's see how many I can. After re-looking at this, I'm almost thinking step 3 should maybe be step 1, but that's okay, and I'll explain why in a moment. Okay, so a big zigzag. It would be nice if that went straight. Then on top, we're going to put a curve line, and of course, completely up to you. Play with, how big of an arch you might want with this. And then here's the step 3, which is to put a straight line underneath these. I think I did not look back at Lori's step out, because I think I did some rearranging. I don't remember now. You'll see when you take a look at her step out, which will be in the description section. But below here, we're going to do 2 sets of double lines, and leaving a little space in between. So you might want to do this one first, depending on what you're doing with it, because you might want to, make sure that you have enough room to go up. So it's like, okay, start from the bottom and work your way up. Completely up to you. And then, because it would be probably just as easy to, do the zigzag this way and making sure that you're hitting that line. Up to you. All right. Then, in these kind of cone-like shapes, we're going to put some straight lines. I'm going to avoid the center, only just because I think that's what Lori had done on hers, and I kind of like not necessarily having something that's right up in the center. Sometimes it's not as easy to do, because it's like, because it's way easy to just put one up the center and then go from there, and subdivide, but that's okay. It's good practice to do something outside of the comfort zone. All right. But if that makes it easier for you, I mean, you could go right up the center, subdivide the other parts, completely up to you. Now, we're going to got basically aura this line. It's just funny, as I'm doing it, I'm thinking of different ways I could have rearranged this step out. Oh, it's a curse. I just like things to make sense. Sometimes that can make you mad. Mad isn't crazy. All right, so in this section, just putting some straight lines, like I said, basically auraing that. You could play with the distance that you have in between them. Could also, let's say if you're not familiar, you can search on my YouTube channel here for the Tangle cheesecake, which is basically after the next step you'll see, but it's basically the same thing. It's just a little grid, but that one requires you to have a shaky hand, which is great. Okay, then after this, now here's the one thing to be careful of is I'm going to start here so I remember. Actually, I might do that on all of them, because by the time I get to the next one, I might forget. This is our original line, when we put these 2 double lines, and I don't want to go down into that. So just being careful. because it gives a nice little, I don't know what I want to say, border, something. And because this is sitting on top of it too, it would look funny. All right. Now I'm trying to go a little, be a little light-handed on this, so that way it doesn't matter if these lines are straight or not. And let me just flip this way. And I almost did it again. I would go down into that space there. All right, I think I can fit one. Wow, more. Great. Okay, so that alone creates a really neat, a neat look. And just like a lot of tangles, there's a lot of places where you could just stop and say, "Oh, I like that. I'm going to decorate from here." But this tangle, it does take it a step further. And here, we're going to do some curved lines, and I'm gonna start from the top here, and these are going to be wider than this. So it's kind of like we have crisscrosses here, and we'll have crisscrosses here, sort of. But this is going to be a curved line. So essentially, aura-ing that top curve, sort of, and just working your way down. And actually, these together create a neat look. And because they're at different distances, it it kind of helps to keep them separate. Besides the fact that this is curved and this is not. And then, okay, second to last step, at the tops of all of these, we're just going to put like a little tethered orb on each of those, little loop. And it's extra nice when you do like me. A lot of time, if you do like me, try not to go over, but it's a nice little fix for that. Then in the middle down here, we should just create some rectangular boxes. And that, let me just check, is essentially it. So while this one has a lot of steps, the steps themselves aren't that hard, but it's, I like to make sure that, every step is easily seen. So sometimes like I said, sometimes I will adjust a step out, so that it helps. Now, you don't have to shade this if you didn't want to, but if you wanted to, here, let's see. Gosh, could go a couple ways. Let's start here. And then, of course, you could decorate inside of this, box, whatever, fill that in, whatever you want to do. And I'll tell you, just adding the shading, like, oh, look at it, neatening things up. Because a lot of times, like, these edges, just for me, I'm sure yours are better, get a little sloppy. And adding the shading, besides creating cool effects, it's a course correction in and of itself. All right. And I do like to put the tip of the tortillon on the graphite, and then sometimes I use circular motion, and sometimes this is more, it's a little bit of a circular motion, but more back and forth. Because I don't want to bring it, oh, look at that. I don't want to bring it into this area too much, because I don't have a lot of space here. Oh, that just looks neat, doesn't it? Now I'm thinking, while I did bring that in to, there we go. I decided I wanted to do something here, and actually, I'm gonna fill in this outside. I'm gonna leave the rectangles plain while I'm talking. So I'm thinking you can make these even more cone-like and shade on the inside of the cone, and I think I might do that. Sometimes I do this where I'm like, oh, I know I want to fill that in, so let's do that while I ponder whether I really want to try that or not. So as I mentioned, and while I'm filling this in, I will mention the description section where you will find links to these step outs and the link to my website and to our lovely Facebook community. So if you happen to be on Facebook and want to have fun with some other tanglers, we would love to have you. On my website, I do classes almost twice a week. I have a lot of them that are free. This one, as I was mentioning, and I'll show you the sample of what I did in that class. I do have a couple classes a month that I charge for, and it's usually something a little bit more in depth. And so one of the things that we did in this class was really, well, in the prep for it, and then, you know, in the prep for it, we studied a lot of lacy patterns and concepts and stuff, and then delivered it in the class. Oh, see, that looks nice. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. That last bit, I'm going, oh, I should have filled that in too. Anyway, lots of playing that you can do with this. And I am going to, let's just see what this looks like. So putting some graphite, I could probably pull it in. Let's try that on this one. Just pull it in a little bit. Sometimes you do need to add on the inside because it does seem to make a difference. And I think that does that because then you still have a really nice dark part right here where just pulling it in, yeah, you don't really get that darkness on the line. And this one is on the inside of that cone. Yeah, that makes them pop out. So lots of other fun that you could have with it. And actually, just because I feel like it needs it, because we kind of have this aura down here. Why not? We're not working to emulate lace at the moment, so this is fine in my head. This is me talking to me out loud. Sorry. Oh yeah, sometimes a nice aura, it just finishes the whole thing off, and that's just cool. So neat tangle, and as I mentioned, we did play with this and some other tangles in the class. I do make the class replays available for purchase. So in my on my website under classes, I should have them listed, and some of them I'm adding links so that way it makes it a lot easier. If I don't have a link, just contact me. I have information is on there. You know, if you wanted to purchase the replay. So this was one design that we did. You know, oh, and here I did use the cheesecloth, so you can see the difference. It's just wiggly. It's the same concept, just wiggly. This one I was really a lot more straightforward with the you know, just following that pattern more exactly, and same thing, but having fun in the center. Having fun in the center and playing with the different nibs on the white jelly roll pens from Sakura. So we had a lot of fun with that, exploring lots of things. So so anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, share, subscribe, leave comments. I appreciate any and all of those efforts as it you know, helps the algorithm thing. And I already mentioned the description section and what you will find there. And so I think that's it. So thanks so much for watching. And, oh, and it really wasn't any longer than any of the other videos. So, again, thanks for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.